Hello learners, welcome to this another session of your program Certificate in Fashion Design, that is CFDE. I, Dr. Divya Ojha, Academic Associate from School of Vocational Education and Training, IGNOU, welcomes you all to this session. So learners, today's topic of discussion is careers in fashion, which is very important for the student of design or student who are enrolled in this particular program, Certificate in Fashion Design, that they have joined this program and you have joined this program with an aim that after completing this particular Certificate in Fashion Design program, you will get some good career opportunity or you will work somewhere in the fashion design industry. So today we will discuss what are different career opportunity you can have after completing this particular CFDE program, and what are different job roles and the career path you have to you can get after completing this particular or learning the fashion design. So in this particular session, we will discuss about different career opportunities or the sectors in which you can enhance your skill or you can use your skill which you have learned from this particular program, Certificate in Fashion Design. So learners, this particular topic, careers in fashion, it is also one of the unit of your particular course 4, that is BFD 074, Communication and Entrepreneurship. So this is the last unit of that course, and this topic, careers in fashion, it is kept as the last unit of your course, the of this particular program, the course 4, and the last unit, because after learning all the skills and the topics related to the fashion design and fashion industry, you will get a clear picture. You will learn what all skills or in which skill you are good at, and then according to that you can choose the career path on which you can go further for that. So as we all know that this particular fashion industry or the textile industry, it is the most income generating and the fastest growing industry in the present scenario, and it has ample opportunities for all different skills which you can use there, what you have, and you can enhance and you can use their skill to get a good career opportunity. So from starting from the sourcing of the raw material to manufacturing the final product and also selling that particular product, there is at every stage you can have a good career opportunity. So as you have gone through all the courses, that whether it is the course 1, Fundamentals of Fashion Design, course 2, that is Basics of Pattern Making and Sewing or Introduction to Fashion Industry, and the last course, that is Communication and Entrepreneurship, you have seen that there is you have learned about various facts about the fashion design and the fashion design industry or the textile industry. And till now you can we hope that you have understood that from first point, that is in the fashion industry, that sourcing of the raw material to making the final product or to getting finally to the customer, we have different stages and different steps we have to follow, and in that we need different kinds of skill. So according to, after learning all these topics, whether it is the pattern making or designing or the fundamentals of design or the historical part of the fashion industry, you can now analyze yourself in which skill you are good at, and choosing that particular skill you can choose your career opportunity in the fashion industry. So now we can say that from choosing the fashion industry, it is a very long way or a long journey from starting from the one piece of fabric. It goes to various steps and the stages to get into its final shape, that is the garment. And in that process we need the professional and the skills to be added to get a good product developed. So for that there are different career opportunities are there that we will discuss in this particular session. So let us see what are different career opportunities and career opportunities in this particular fashion field that you can choose. So first we can have, after completing this certificate in fashion design, you can go for being a sourcing manager. You can choose the career as a textile designer, fashion technician, pattern maker, fashion designer, fashion merchandiser. You can choose a career as a fashion retail manager, fashion forecaster, self-entrepreneur, and fashion journalist. So these are some career career or the job roles we have discussed. There are n numbers of the careers or small sections we can have. So we will discuss some of the careers, such as first is the sourcing manager. Sourcing manager, what are the job roles? Like if you go for choosing this particular job as a sourcing manager, what are information, what all skills you should have? So the first skill you should have is you to know how of the fabrics. It means that if you go or choose the career as a sourcing manager, you should have a good knowledge about the fabric, like how many types of fabrics are there, what are different qualities and the characteristics of fabric is there that you should be aware of. Checking the quality of fiber or yarn. So you should be aware and have a good knowledge how you will, if you are given a piece or sample of a fiber or a yarn, you are aware that how you will test the particular quality of that particular fiber or yarn which is given to you. You can analyze the market demand and supply, that you should know how you will analyze the market demand and supply. You should be familiar with current trend and price of raw material and procurement of cotton, fiber or yarn as per the requirement of the fabric. What fabric is required by the production house, that you should be aware that how you will procure that particular yarn or fiber to develop the fabric. Now it comes to the point, what career path you can have as a career as a sourcing manager. So initially one who choose this particular career as a sourcing manager, he or she will be engaged as a trainee. So as you start, as you are the beginner, you will be appointed as a trainee in the sourcing firm. Like in the production or the fashion industry, we have different sections. So in the sourcing firm or the section, and later on you will be promoted as a sourcing assistant. Then after getting some experience of years, he or she, after acquiring certain years of experience on the procurement of the raw materials with a good communication ability and analyzing skills, you can be promoted as a sourcing manager. So sourcing manager is the final position you have, but before getting into that up to that particular sourcing manager position, you will have to go as a trainee, then you will get as an assistant, and with an experience and a good communication ability, you will be finally getting the position of the sourcing manager in any fashion industry or a brands or brand house. Then next job you can choose for after doing this particular fashion design course is the textile designer. So there is a confusion. Generally we get confused between the textile designer and the fashion designer. So fashion designer is the broad, that in particular broad concept in which the designer or the person, he or she has to perform various activities. But when we say that we have a job as a, or we have the job role as a textile designer, it is specifically to related to the textile or the fabrics only. So the job role, the skill which you should have to become a textile designer is you should have a good knowledge to prepare different types of design for the textile or the fabrics. You should have a good knowledge of liaising with the clients and the team members, creating new collections of design, and you should have a good knowledge of editing and putting design on repeat. Like editing or the putting design on repeat means that in present time, we, instead of using the pen and paper, we prefer to use the softwares and the computer aided designs. So you should have a good knowledge about that particular softwares so that you can develop designs of weaves or the other techniques for the development of the fabric. Then what career path you will have after choosing this particular job as a textile designer? So career route typically in textile design begins with an assistant designer, same as in the earlier job specific we also had as a trainee. So in this also a career route typically in the textile design, it will begin with an assistant designer, which will be followed by textile designer. So first you will get the position as an assistant designer, then you will get, after learning the technique or the process of the working in the of that particular firm or the industry, you will get appointed as a textile designer. So with 2 or 3 years of experience, the designer become the manager. So after a good experience or working environment you are comfortable with, you will get the position as a manager for a team, or he or she can become the director depending upon the organizational structure of the firm. Organizational structure of the firm means that suppose you go as a, you are appointed as a textile designer in a big brand or a very renowned brand. So there is a particular section of divided, we have different sections specifically. So you will be working as just as a textile designer. But if it is a small company or a small firm or a startup, you will be getting different job roles, or you will be getting different responsibilities. So you can also become, depending upon the structure of that organization, you can also become a director there. So textile designer are hired by a big companies on the good packages, and however one can also go as a freelancer. Like if you are not don't want to get full time, or you don't want to work specifically for only one brand or only one firm, you can work as a freelancer textile designer and you can work with n number of companies. So this is up to the choice or the skill you can have. Next job that you can choose is of the fabric technician. So fabric technician, the what all skills you need to become want to become a good fabric technician is you should be aware about the liaising between the designer and the fabric sourcing unit. Like as you are the fabric technician means you have the technical knowledge about the fabric which we are going to use for the garment manufacturing or the development of the product. So you should have a good liaising ability between the fabric sourcing team and the designer. Like designer gives the design and all the requirements for the development of the product. or the garment. So understanding the demand of the designer and to be, understanding how you will source that particular fabric from the sourcing unit, you should have good licensing ability. Then you should have a good testing of fabric strength and color. You should have the knowledge how you will test the strength of the fabric which you are getting for the development of garment, and the testing of the colors, which is very important. Then matching the standard of fabric as per the requirement of the design, and also creating new fabric ideas. Suppose you are getting a design from a designer, you can also suggest that this particular, instead of using this particular type of fabric, we can choose or we can try some other type of fabric for that will look good on that. So these all skills is required to become a fabric technician. Now let us see what career path you will get after choosing this job as a fabric technician. So fabric technician can begin his or her career as a trainee or a fabric assistant, and later on process with the progress as a fabric technician who can spearhead in the development of fabric. Then next level in this career ladder is the senior fabric technician or the manager, who generally manages a team of staff and supervises the fabric development. So starting with a trainee, you can become the head of that particular team or the section which provides the fabric with all the specification and the technical thing. Then next job which you can adopt for or go for is the pattern maker. So pattern maker is one of the fascinating job. You can everyone wants to join as a after learning the fashion design, which is very much related to the development of pattern and the garment manufacturing. So the skill which you need to become a good pattern maker is you should be familiar with the measuring tools. Like if you are going to become a pattern master or a pattern maker, you should know which tools or which instruments you will be needing to take the measurements. You should be familiar with that. You should be able to good in drawing pattern on the given clothes or the fabric. You should be able to do the cutting clothes as per the design. Like you should have a good ability to analyze the design and develop the pattern. And next, you should also have a good skill to transfer that design on the fabric and cut that fabric. You should be able in maintaining the quality standards and licensing with the garment manufacturer. Like licensing with the manufacturer means that as you are the pattern maker, your work will be that you have to understand the design, then you have to transfer that design as a pattern, and you have to cut the fabric. Then you have a good have to contact be in collaboration with the garment manufacturer for the development of the final product. So now let us see what career path you will get after choosing this job as a pattern maker. So pattern maker is skilled person who earns his credibility and progression on the basis of his technical skill. So as right now we discussed that technical skills that you should have good knowledge of the measuring tools, what pattern method you will adopt to transfer the design, how you will cut the fabric for the manufacturing or the sewing of the product. So all that technical knowledge you should have to become a pattern maker. So they generally start their career as a helper or assistant to pattern master, and later on gaining the certain years of experience in measuring and the cutting, you can become the pattern maker. So all becoming as a trainee, then after getting the all the experience and how you will get how we have to work in the industry, you can after years of experience you will get the position as a pattern maker. So next job that you can choose as a after completing your fashion design is the fashion designer, which is the most popular job, or we all say that after doing this particular program or learning the fashion design, we want to become a fashion designer. So fashion designer, if you choose this particular position or as a job, that is fashion designer, you have to perform various responsibilities and jobs at a time. So starting from drawing and developing a design, analyzing needs and market trends, sourcing raw material and other products, familiar with design tools and the softwares like CAD, all that skill you should have to become a good fashion designer. Adding to that, you should have good knowledge of pattern making and the making fit garments. You should be able to coordinate with the design team and the peer groups. You should have a good ability, listening ability with the supervisor and the marketing people. Keeping updates with the latest trend in the fashion industry, and also you have to visit and participate in the fashion show and trade fairs. So all these skills are required to become a fashion designer. Then let us see what career path you can have as a fashion designer. So fashion designer plays a versatile role in a fashion industry depending upon the type of company he or she engaged. Like, you have all the skills that we have discussed in the previous slide, and you choose to become a fashion designer and you join a very big brand or a renowned brand. So you will get a specific position, like suppose you will be getting the specifically appointed for designing and development of the design, or you will be getting the role to go to attend the fashion shows and trade fairs and collect the informations. Or suppose you join a very small firm or company, you have to perform all these responsibilities on yourself. So it depends upon the firm or the company you have joined. So it is also a very small company, that is retailer, that one has to perform multiple roles. So it depends upon the company. So big firms have exclusive design team headed by the managing director, designers and assistant designers. So it all depends upon the type of company. Then the next job you can choose is the fashion merchandiser. So fashion merchandiser, to become a fashion merchandiser, you should have a good knowledge or fundamental knowledge of fashion merchandise and textile industry. You should be good at assessing the requirements of product, placing the order with suppliers. So all that is related with the marketing of the product which has been developed. You should be good in reviewing the progress and supply of products. You should be good in ensuring regular supply of products during the season. Like in fashion, we have the summer and winter seasons. So according to the season, you have to develop the ensure that the product should be supplied according to the season. So career path that is related in this particular fashion merchandiser is, initially one will join as a trainee or assistant merchandiser, and after getting exposure of certain years in merchandising, one can become full-fledged fashion merchandiser. So in every stage or every job which we have discussed till now, we have seen that you will get start with as a trainee, then you will work as an assistant, and after some exposure or experience of 1 or 2 years, you will finally get the job role or position as the senior person, that is fashion merchandiser or the fashion designer or pattern maker. Then next, job responsibilities as a fashion retail manager is managing the retail store. You will be supervising and motivating sale executives. You will be in coordination with stock manager, head office and warehouses. You will be ensuring display of products, reviewing stock and sale informations. You will be handling customers' queries and maintaining safety and welfare of staff and customers. All these job roles you have to perform as a fashion retail manager. Then what career paths you will get as a fashion retail manager? That one person who join as a sales executive or salesman can gradually move on the ladder by performing their role, by meeting the sale target satisfactorily. So any student who is 10 plus 2, they can join as or get an employment as a salesperson or a salesman, and with some experience they can be appointed as a fashion retail manager in the fashion industry. Then next, job responsibilities of a fashion forecaster. Another job is the fashion forecaster, which is one of the very important job role in the fashion industry, and it is very highly paid job in the fashion industry. So what are different role and responsibilities of a fashion designer? That they have to do the forecasting of colors for a particular season. So in fashion industry, as we have also studied in this particular that as the season changes, before 6 months, prior 6 months, the fashion designers or they forecast that in the coming season people will be these kinds of fabric or this particular type of color will be in the trend, or in the people will be choosing these particular style of garment, or the colors, all that will be trend. So that particular forecasting is done by the person who is appointed as a fashion forecaster. So main job role or the responsibility of a fashion forecaster is to forecast of the color for a particular season, forecasting of style, forecasting of fabric and its texture. You will be visiting to fashion shows and the craft fairs. You will be illustrating the artwork and liaising with the illustrators. So all that it is the role and responsibility of a fashion forecaster that you will be appointed. If you will be appointed, you will be doing all these jobs. So learners, all these jobs, different jobs we discuss its job responsibilities and role and different career paths. So in this session we have discussed some of the job roles and type of job, that is career that you can adopt as. But there are n numbers of jobs you can get according to the skill which you have learned from this particular program, certificate in fashion design. So we hope that some of your queries has been solved regarding what career you can choose after completing this particular fashion design program. Since if you have any further queries, you can just write a mail on cfde@ignou.ac.in. We will be very happy to answer all your queries. Thank you.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study IGNOU offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but the students can write their examinations, assignments, practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
Welcome to this session. Today's topic of discussion is about energy conservation. Energy conservation, pledge for sustainable future. This topic is related to course MEVE 016, that is Urban Environment, for the program MSc Environmental Sciences. Learners, you are very well aware about the importance of energy. And we also know that there is a growing energy crisis. We all depend on energy and its various forms. If at all we are able to survive on this planet, if at all we are able to make our lives better, it is all because of our ability to exploit the various energy resources that are around us. All the human activities are possible because of the energy. So, energy is of utmost importance for our survival. Without energy, we cannot perform our bodily functions. Our economic development depends upon our ability to harness energy. We utilize different forms of energy. We use fossil fuels. We use the conventional as well as the non-conventional forms of energy. The electricity is generated, and it is the way by which we progress economically. Our material production, our industrialization, urbanization, all the economic activities are dependent upon energy. And another important fact is the type and the amount of energy consumption per capita is a reflection of development. You very well know, learners, that what is the situation of per capita energy consumption and what is the difference between the developed and the developing countries. The per capita energy consumption of a person in developed countries is much higher than that of a person in developing countries, or more so in the rural areas. And we can easily establish the relation that if we are consuming more energy, that means we have made our lives comfortable, we are able to live a convenient life, and that is a measure of course, the development. In the rural areas, we find that people do not have access to clean energy. there are several villages where there is no electricity, and that easily resonates with their low level of development. So the amount of energy that we consume, and more so it is important that there should be a clean form of energy that we are using, and therefore there is always a debate between the hard path and the soft path of energy conservation. The hard part of the energy utilization depends upon the use of the fossil fuel based resources. And the soft path of energy consumption depends upon the cleaner forms of energy, for example, solar energy, wind energy, and so on. So how much we have developed and how much we have made our lives better is a reflection of the per capita energy consumption. So that way also it is significant to study about the energy, about its various forms, about the ways by which it is utilized, and what measures can be taken for its conservation. And energy excess is also strongly related to our income. See, when we study energy, it is about various things related to energy, and basically we need energy for two things. We need energy for our survival, and we also need energy for making our lives better. So energy excess is important, and energy affordability is also important. So these are the two terms that we are going to discuss in detail, where energy excess means how we are able to access the various forms of energy. While certain countries, certain regions, they have good access of energy resources. That means we have the energy use at our disposal. But at the other hand, we also have to talk about energy affordability, where energy and the various forms of energy are not easily affordable by various groups of the people. And it is termed as that those people are living in energy poverty situation. So we will be discussing all those things. But before that, let us understand the few facts about energy. Why it is so vital to know about energy. On 14 December, every year we celebrate the National Energy Conservation Day. Recently we celebrated. Why? Because there are certain facts related to energy which you must understand. About 13% of the people in the world, they do not have access to electricity. And without electricity, we can imagine that how our lives would be had there been no electricity. We cannot survive half an hour without electricity. Think of the people who are completely devoid of the electricity. They have no other means of the energy source available to them. About 40% of the people in the world, they do not have access to clean fuels for cooking. So still they are relying on the traditional old methods of cooking, like burning of the biomass, fuel wood, and the dirty sources of the energy. That means it has an impact. It has an impact on the environment, it has an impact on their health, and it also has an impact on the energy efficiency. And fossil fuels, the dirtiest fuel, the coal, petroleum, etc., which are the non-renewable sources of the energy, which emit lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. They supply 84% of the world energy. Still, we are so much dependent upon the fossil fuel based energy sources. So if we talk about our country also, about 20% of our annual budget goes on the imports of the oil, of the energy resources. And if you just, we were talking about, and we very well know that how the most conventional forms of energy sources like coal, petroleum, they are responsible for around three quarters of the total greenhouse gas emissions. So energy generation, how we are generating electricity, which is one of the most common sources of the energy. So still, for electricity production, we are dependent upon burning of the coal, burning of the fossil fuels in the thermal power plant stations. So this is therefore considered an unhealthy and tidy means of generating electricity. And the other sectors include agriculture, land use. They are another sources by which the greenhouse gas emissions are taking place. So learners, by these facts, you must have been sensitized about the importance of energy, about the importance of electricity. And these energy sources, they are available readily to us, and therefore we do not understand their importance and hardly take any measures for conserving them. When we talk about the various sources of the energy, you must be aware of the most common classification is the conventional sources. Still we are using the commercial coal, petroleum, and in the rural areas the burning of the biomass, the firewood, animal dung, these are still burnt, and peculiarly they are used for cooking. They are also used for keeping themselves warm during winters, and these are the most common sources of energy which are termed as the conventional forms of energy. And the conventional sources of the energy generate carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. However, with changing times, with growing awareness, we are also on towards the utilization of the non-conventional forms of energy. And therefore, lot of investments have been made towards solar energy, wind energy, hydrothermal energy. These are the non-conventional sources of energy. We have ample reserves of these various natural resources, and therefore, it is of utmost importance for us to invest in these areas because they are the clean forms of energy. Their initial investment may be higher, but in the long course of time, they are not generating any carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and also most importantly, these are the renewable sources of energy. So they are there, and there is no point of them getting depleted. And so therefore, our future energy security depends to a great extent on the manner by which we are able to utilize these forms of energy. And therefore, we find across the world there has been a lot of infrastructure being developed for the utilization of these forms of energy. Now you look at this graph on the screen, and where you can easily see that what are the main sectors or the main energy sources which we are using. So if you look into this explains the situation in 2019 where we can see that the oil constitutes the major source which is consumed the most. Then it is the coal, then it is the natural gas, and when you look into and the other sources of energy, the percentage is still very, very low. So if we are towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 7, that is clean and affordable energy to all, by 2030, it requires a huge transition. It requires that we shift from coal, oil and gas to the alternative sources of the energy. One thing is very important for learners, for you to understand that the future of energy lies in the utilization of the multi-fuel, because none of the sources is clean, none of the sources is 100% available, and therefore when we discuss about energy and its conservation and sustainability, it is very important to look into energy access and energy affordability, as it has been said. So if we are moving towards, and if you are planning our energy budget, it is important to seek the information about what are the energy sources which are readily available, what are the ways by which it can be utilized, and how far we are able to conserve them. So another important thing which related to energy is the term like energy efficiency, which is also very important. Most of the times where we are generating electricity, it has also been seen that there are leakages, there are different types of losses occurring, there is energy wastage, and the infrastructure or the equipments which we have made, if they are not 100% efficient, if they waste a lot of energy during transmission and other points, then it is a kind of an energy wastage. So therefore it is very important for us to look into the various forms of energy, look into their advantages and disadvantages, because these are also location specific. If the energy sources has to be imported, then it is definitely not a good option. But if any energy source is readily available, then there is no harm in using it if it is being used in a clean manner, if it is conserved in a proper manner. So sustainability and energy are linked, because as we know, Sustainable Development Goal 7 talks about clean and affordable energy. And learners, we also know that India is moving towards net zero by 2070. We have entered the Amrit Kal, and we talk about Viksit Bharat at 2047. We need to make energy smart decisions. It is very important for us to see, because there is always an increase in the energy demand. What has been seen in the last few years, that there is a growth in the energy demand with increase in population, with increase in our economic growth, and as we are moving towards economic progress, it is important to see that what energy sources we are using, because our future course of action depends to a great extent on what energy source we are using. That is very important. So we know that the climate, because there are three things which will decide the future course of action and future of any nation: energy security, climate security, and job growth. When you look into the climate security, energy is the main deciding factor. When we are towards achieving climate security, providing a climate resilient world, it will be on the basis of the type of the energy which we are using and which we are consuming. Be it industry, agriculture, our cities, our transportation, every activity is dependent upon the energy. And the type of energy which we are using in our various segments of the economy, that will decide that what is our fate with regards to climate change action and how far we are able to meet the sustainable development goals. So when we talk about net zero emissions, there are certain points which must be remembered by us. First of all, net zero emission is all about changing in our fuels, what fuels we are using, and that is indirectly related to our energy choices. There is a lot of talk about clean energy, there is a lot of emphasis on the clean technologies. Then there is talk about investment in hydrogen and other forms of low carbon fuels. You very well know that it is the age of digitalization, where resource conservation, energy conservation is strengthened by means of digital technologies coming up. But one must also not forget that these technologies are also dependent upon energy in one form or the other. So while we talk about making ourselves fully digitalized, and when we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat or Digital India also, then we must also think about that how far we have, how much of the carbon emissions are being done, and we must limit our targets. We must think about reducing our carbon emissions, and for that it requires efforts from everyone. It requires efforts from individuals, from governments, from various stakeholders, institutions, industries, and everyone. So it is a choice for citizens, for investors, for companies, and most for all the government. So it is on our part that how we are able to achieve the net zero emissions. And another thing is that energy is not a subject of a group of the people, but it is very well linked to the society. If we explain this in detail, if you think about in detail, you will find a clearer picture of what has been said, that how it is linked to socioeconomic status and ethnicity. Energy access is linked to health and other hardship. It is also related to our clean and safe water. While I say this, it must also be made clear that every day, be it this sector of the health, you very well know that health of a person or community health also, if we take into consideration, it also depends upon the energy. If energy is not accessible or affordable or sustainable, we find people struggling to get the minimum work done. And in all these cases, the result is that impact on the health. In the rural areas, women are the most sufferers. The elderly people suffer the most when the proper energy, you can say the devices or proper mechanisms are not there at the homes. The asthmatics particularly suffer in case of the places which are devoid of proper energy resources. So these are the common things which we observe when it comes to changes in the weather, whether it is heating and cooling patterns, which are why is it so that we find that it is very convenient for somebody to work in the harsh winters also, while for others it is very difficult to survive. We find, we very well know that people suffer because of the changes in the weather and other conditions, because we do not have any mechanism, we do not have any energy access to everyone, so that everyone can keep themselves according to the temperatures or keep themselves comfortable when the temperatures are too high or too low. So it is not just only about living, but it also is all on their livelihoods, what work they are doing. It also has an impact, as I said, on the societal structure, and there is also a huge gap, you can say, because of the energy consumption. We can see that there is a huge the manner in which the people who have access to all forms of energy live, and those who are devoid of the energy, how they are living. So energy is a subject of society, it is a subject of societal importance, and it has an impact, different impact on the different segments of the society, whether it is age, whether it is region, whether it is gender, whether it is urban or rural, it has an impact. So therefore it is very much linked to sustainability, and energy poverty is a term which we use to define a situation where there is inaccessibility or unavailability of energy sources. So in the villages there is no electricity, the electricity does not come for hours, so in that case it is a situation is of energy poverty. People do not have access to electricity, people do not have access to transportation, they do not have proper facilities. So this energy poverty is of the acute type also, or it is of the chronic type also. See, chronic energy poverty is a situation wherein the energy is not available for years altogether, because of the lack of the development, because of the lack of the connectivity, transportation, urban development, there is no electricity, no energy. And the acute energy poverty happens in situations in case of any disaster, in case of floods, where we find that for hours together the people are stuck, there is no electricity, there is no fuel available. And therefore it is said that the future of energy lies in local solutions. So this is also very important, and that is why it has been stated that the use and the utilization of the energy must take into consideration the locally available resources. And that is why utilization of the nearer forms of the energy, whether it is solar, wind, or any other form of energy, that decision should be made depending upon the availability. If the energy resource is readily available, then that should be given a priority while using, utilizing and developing it. Instead of saying that utilizing a cleaner form of energy, if it is not native to that region and we are exploiting it, if we are further developing it, strengthening it, then it may not be a sustainable idea. And therefore energy utilization is very important, how we are utilizing the energy. And so United Nations has launched a Sustainable Energy for All initiative, and according to this energy initiative, 2014 to 2024, that is the next year, coming year, it is declared as the decade for the sustainable energy for all. So therefore energy is very important, and therefore the whole decade has been dedicated to provide energy access and energy availability to everyone, and no one should be left behind. Similarly, energy security is like insecurity, like we have the food insecurity. Likewise, there is energy insecurity, where people do not have energy to meet their house daily needs, where their health is compromised, their living is compromised, their livelihoods are compromised, because, and therefore energy and crime, energy and these things, these are some of the very interesting topics which must be researched more. And likewise here also there is acute and chronic energy security. So energy insecurity or the availability of the energy depends upon various factors like age and life course. It depends upon education and the literacy level. If we are more educated, then we make proper measures for the conservation of the energy and the proper utilization of the energy. Our employment, socioeconomic status, gender, housing is also very important. How our houses are designed, because if our houses are not properly designed, they tend to consume more energy, and in such cases this is not an optimum way of utilizing the energy. So our houses, our buildings should also be constructed in such a manner that we are able to conserve the energy at every stage, right from the construction to final living. That kind of you can say that kind of pattern and that kind of structure should be thought of well beforehand, so that there is minimum energy wastage at every step. And therefore this is thing which we termed as energy inefficiency. And therefore for all the electronic products that we go in for market, we talk about energy efficiency. See, energy is like a universal currency. It has to be utilized. The various forms of energy must be transformed in such a manner that it is for use to everyone. So energy inefficiency generally occurs if there is a poor designing of the house, if urban development is not proper, if there are leaks, if there are transmission losses, if the material is not procured in a proper manner. These are some of the cases where we find energy inefficiency, and it is also caused by various factors which are related to us, of course, like overconsumption of the energy, poor infrastructure, weather events which are extreme, and nowadays we are facing the cases of extreme weather events, also characterized by the natural disasters like floods, earthquake and all these things happening, and various kinds of accidents which take place. So therefore there are power breaks, there is an impact on economy, increase in oil prices which we face most often, and environmental pollution. So these are some of the impacts, and through various means like mitigation, promotion of alternative source of energy, population control, public transportation, clean energy and using of the waste heat, these are some of the means by which we can manage our energy resources. So at the end we can conclude that energy is very important, it is vital for our survival and for our cities to grow, and it is like an engine for our economic growth, and it should be preserved for maintaining the sustainability. Thank you so much.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this or any other media system? Or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism and New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism and New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance the media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication. The eligibility is a bachelor's degree, and we are introducing this program in 3 languages: Hindi, Tamil and English. Students from national and international students can join either through online mode as well as in the distance mode. We have 4 postgraduate diploma programs, specialized areas in the field of development communication, digital media, electronic media and journalism and mass communication program. And all these 4 programs are available in distance mode. 2 programs are available in online mode, development communication and digital media. And we have specialized certificate program in community radio. IGNOU employs various media and communication tools for better teaching and learning process. School of Journalism and New Media Studies utilizes this media system for delivering all our programs. Come and join with us for exploring a new career and enhance your media skills.
Welcome viewers. In today's session, I am just taking a very important topic, that is optimization of warehouse distribution. You must have faced many situations where you have a certain sources and certain destination, and the material or the item has to go from sources to destination. Now, what should be the objective? Objective is to minimize the cost. So this I will deal in my first session. In my second session, I will take another type of problem where you have a different jobs and different operators. Now, every operator does not have the same efficiency and capability. In other words, a person X can take 20 minutes to complete the work, while operator Y takes 30 minutes to do the same job. Now, objective of such type of allocation, which is also known as assignment problem, that I will take up in my second session. So let us start with the definition of inventory, because this our session is related to postgraduate certificate in inventory planning and warehousing system, and I am taking the third course, that is warehousing system. In that we will take up how you will take these two mathematical model. So if we define the inventory in a very simple words, it refers to the collection of goods, materials or resources that a business holds in stock for the purpose of production, sales and distribution. That means we are keeping certain items in our stock so that these items can be used in future, either for the purpose of production or for the production of sales. If I take the example of any factory, they will keep the inventory for the production. If I take the example of any retail company or retail house, then they keep the inventory for the sale in the future or in the coming days. Now these items are to be stored in some place. These places are called as warehouse, and the process of storing the physical inventory for sale or distribution is called the warehouses. There are various types of warehouses and they are used by different types of business. For example, medical, pharmaceutical, even your grains, a cold storage where you can keep the vegetable for the complete 1 year and you will not lose the quality or the properties of that particular vegetable or fruit. So, but now the culture is coming when we have a different warehouse, because it is not always possible to instantaneously produce something. So what is the practice? That we keep the warehouse near to the market, so that as per the demand we take the material or the item from the warehouse for the purpose of consumption in the market. Now it is very important to know the warehouse distribution. Warehouse distribution indicate the material movement, that when any item or any product comes from manufacturing unit to the warehouse, it is necessary to keep at a safe place. If it is a perishable item, it should be taken care. If it is not perishable item, then also we have to keep certain things in our mind, that so whenever there is a need, it should be taken out easily. Another important thing is that allocation of the duties of the pupil, because there are several activities just like distribution. Then whatever we used, we are using linear programming, we are using transportation models, assignment model, transshipped model. All these are the useful techniques in the warehouse distribution system. So in today's session, what we will do, we will take up transportation problem and assignment problem. Now the learning objective of this session is to understand how to use optimization technique and what is the importance. When you study, then you will come to know that operation and allocation effort are very important for in the transportation or in the warehousing system. Now we will come to the transportation model or the transportation problem. Basically, transportation model addresses the concept of a item from one place to another without any change. That means physical properties are not going to be changed. Now, second assumption is that there is no damage, there is no negative consequences. So whenever we are analyzing the transportation system, our effort is to find the most efficient route for the resource allocation. So the basic problem is the transportation model is that we have to assign or allocate the certain items quantity from sources to destination so that the total cost can be minimized. That is the major objective of any transportation model. Now, there are many types of items which can be transported. We will take the example of milk. We can take the example of bread. As you know that we in the cities we used to go to the dairy booth or where we will get the your bread or milk in a different pouches, different quantity of the pouches. So how they are coming? They are being allocated by a warehousing manager so that it should reach to the customer well in time. Now, where the items are generated or produced or where the items are transported, they are known as source or the origin. And there is the most important thing, there is a certain quantity which is available as per the capacity of sources or the origin. Now these sources or the origins have the certain capacity, certain availability and the supply also. Other side of this transportation, where we want to transport these resources, they are called as sink or destination, such as different marketplace, your godowns. And these destinations have certain requirement or demand that has to be fulfilled by the supply from the source. In a basic or in a layman language, the transportation problem can be categorized into two types of problem. One is standard problem and another one is non-standard problem. The transportation problem is generally considered as standard if it is to be computed to minimize the total cost. If it is maximization of profit, then it is called as the non-standard. In another word, if the objective of transportation problem is to minimize the cost, minimize the distance traveled, anything which is related to minimization, then such type of transportation problem is termed as the standard transportation problem. If we want to maximize the profit, if we want to maximize the output, then this type of problem is called as the non-standard problem. Now we will, with the figure of one figure, we will try to illustrate the actual transportation problem. We want to build the concept in your mind so that whenever you will solve any problem, this figure should be in your mind. As I told that transportation problems are used to find the minimum cost of transportation of goods from M source to end destination. If you see this figure, then you have a 3 factories or the sources and 2 destination or the warehouse. Now what our purpose is, we want to transport the items or the product from the factory to the warehouses. You may ask one question that why the factory 1, every factory is giving to the warehouse. My dear, every factory has a limited capacity. Similarly, the cost of transportation is different. So, since our objective is to minimization of the cost, we will try to fulfill the requirement of warehouse with all the factories. That is why you are finding that factory 1 is supplying to warehouse 1, 2 and 3, all 3 factories are supplying. So that is the basic objective of the transportation problem. Now how you will define the transportation problem? Transportation problem is basically a linear programming problem, and our objective is to identify or to reach at an optimal solution and allocate the resources from various destinations to the various from the various sources. So that is the definition of transportation problem. Now this is a schematic diagram of a transportation problem. S1, S2 and SM are the sources, and if you just see on your left hand, A1, A2 and AM is the quantity available with the sources. Now on your right hand with the green color, you will find D1, D2 up to Dn. They are the destination. B1, B2 and Bn are the demand. So if you just see from source S1, you have to allocate X11 quantity where the transportation cost or the cost of allocation is C11. Similarly, X12 is the quantity which is to be allocated from source 1 to destination 2 with cost C12. Similarly, C1n or X1n is the quantity which is to be allocated from source S1 to destination Dn. And our effort is, if you just see, visualize what is A1 plus A2 plus An, that is nothing but X11 plus X12 plus X22 and X2n and then XM1 and XM2. If you make the total sum, that should be equal to A1 plus A2 up to A1. That is the basic transportation problem, and I hope that you have understood and you have seen this figure. You can easily formulate the any statement in the transportation problem. Now we will come how you will make a mathematical model. Let us take that one OEM. OEM means original equipment manufacturer is supplying resources from M source to destination D. Aij quantity availability, Bj is the demand or the quantity required as destination, Cij is the cost from source I to destination D, Xij is the units of source transported from source Si to Dj, and this is another constant where I is greater than or equal to 1 and it between 1 and m, or in case of your supply or availability, and between 1 and n when we come to the demand. This is how we represent the transportation problem. On left hand side you have a origin, on right hand side you have the availability, in between your different destination where you will find that if you supply any quantity then your C11 is the cost. Now you have to find the optimum solution. Now what are the different types of transportation problem? We have discussed what are the different categories: standard, non-standard. Now the types of the problems can be classified into 3 categories, or you can say 2 categories. One is called the balanced transportation problem, and another one is your unbalanced problem, depending upon the source supply and the requirement at the destination. Now what we meant by balanced transportation problem: if total supply is equal to total demand, that is given in this equation, then we called as the balanced transportation problem. Now second type of transportation problem is your unbalanced transportation problem, where the total supply is not equal to the total demand. Your mathematical equation is given. Now here there are 2 types of things. In first situation, total supply is greater than total demand. In second category, total supply is less than the total demand. Now we will give you a simple problem, transportation problem, where 1, 2, 3, 4 are the sources and A, B, C are the destinations. If you see at your right hand side, source 1 has the capacity of supplying 5 units, 2 is 8, 3 is 7 and 4 is 14. If you sum up 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 14, you will get a figure 34. Similarly, if you add destination or the demand at each destination, 7 plus 9 plus 18, that again comes as the 34. That means total supply is equal to total demand. That is called as the balanced transportation problem. Now we will see that what we meant by the unbalanced transportation problem. If the total supply is less than the total demand, if you just see at your right hand side, 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 12, that is 32, which is less than the total demand. So when supply is less and demand is more, what you will do? You will create a dummy row, and if you just see that I have named as X, and they are supplying 2. So now the supply is matching with the total demand, and now this problem is a balanced problem, and we can use either northwest corner method, least cost method, or Vogel approximation method. Any method we can use. In the earlier problem, the supply is less and the demand is more. In this problem which we are going to discuss, your demand is less while supply is more. If you just add 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 14, it is 14. If you sum up the demand, 7 plus 9 plus 16, that is the 32. So, in the first category, when the supply is less, what you will do? You will generate a row. Now, in this case, when your demand is less, you will generate a dummy column with dummy demand as equal to 2. So, now the problem is completely balanced. Now, you have a different solutions. As I told you, the one of the simplest method to solve the transportation model is your northwest corner method. We will take one example. With the help of that, I will try to explain you that how you will solve any problem. Now, this is your northwest corner method. We have taken a very simple example where we have a 3 source and sources are represented by O1, O2 and O3, and your destination is D1, D2, D3 and D4. One very important thing, it is not necessary to have the square matrix. You have a supply from the sources as 300, 400, 500, so it becomes the 1200. Similarly, demand is 250 plus 350, 600 plus 400, 1000 and 200, that is 1200. So, the supply is equal to demand. So, what type of problem it is? It is a balance transportation problem. Now, in this figure, since the name is northwest corner method, what we will do? We will take up the northwest corner. This is the northwest corner. Now, the demand is 250 while the supply is 350. So, what we will do? We will cut this destination, since we are fulfilling the complete demand by supplying 250. So, what we will do? We will make the demand 0 and the supply is 300 minus 250, that is 250. Now, with this leftover matrix, the 1 is your northwest corner. Now, the 50 is your supply and 350 is demand. And our attempt is to fulfill the need where the quantity is less. In the first case, 250 was less, so we have fulfilled the 250. Here the 50 is your least out of 50 and 350. What we will do? We will completely fulfill the supply, or we will take up the supply and we will make it 0. And we will deduct 50 from here, so it will become 300. And after that, we have only this matrix is left over. So, this is the northwest corner method. In this session, we have studied about the inventory, what is your warehousing, what is the warehousing distribution system, then how the physical movement or the material movement is taking place, which is an important activity of any warehouse or warehousing distribution system. In this session, we have discussed about the transportation problem, where you have a series of origin or the resources, and you have a number of destination or where you have a certain demands. So your objective is to utilize the total supply from the origin and to fulfill the need of the demand of the destination. And this type of problem is easily solved with the help of the transportation model. In our session, we have discussed in very brief about the northwest corner method. In the coming sessions, we will try to elaborate, give you more elaboration on the northwest corner method, least cost method, and the Vogel approximation method, so that you may have the better understanding. There are a lot of softwares are available, but in order to have the basic idea, you need to understand the basic or the root of the transportation model. And today, in today's session, we have given you the root of the or the basics of the transportation model. Thank you.
Are you a fresh graduate? Do you want to fulfill your educational aspiration by pursuing higher education in various interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary areas like environmental science, environment and occupational health, philosophy, sustainability science, folklore and culture studies? If yes, the School of Interdisciplinary and Trans-Disciplinary Studies offers various programs like Master's Program, Graduate Program, Postgraduate Diploma, Certificate and Appreciation Program. The school offers 5 Master's Program. Master of Science, Environmental Science. The eligibility criteria for MSc Environmental Science is Graduate in Science, BTech, BE, Agriculture Graduate, Forestry Graduate and Veterinary Graduate. School also
Welcome viewers. In this session, we are taking the optimization of warehouse distribution. This is a part of your course Warehousing System course of program Postgraduate Certificate in Inventory Planning and Warehousing System. I am Professor Ashish Agarwal, Program Coordinator for this PG Certificate in Inventory Planning and Warehousing System. In one of the sessions, we have discussed that there are 2 types of problems in any warehouse. First is the distribution of different items from different factories to the warehouse. We have to make a strategy so that each factory should be able to supply to each warehouse, and the demand of each warehouse should be fulfilled easily. Second type of problem is your allocation model. Each warehouse or every warehouse experiences the allocation problem, where you have to assign certain people for certain jobs, drivers to vehicles, workers to the different counters in the retail, and similarly different trucks to different cities. Scientific method, just as assignment problem, crew assignment, traveling salesman model for allocation can be considered, and the objective is to reduce the time, cost and effort. So in this session we will try to explain the assignment model. Now, the learning objective of our session is to understand the optimizing warehouse operational and allocation efforts, and this type of problem is called as the Hungarian technique. So we will discuss and we will try to solve one problem by using the Hungarian technique. Now, what is the assignment model? If you just see that anybody can any job, but all the men will not have the same efficiency, skill or knowledge. In another word, that time taken by every person will be different for the same job. Now, depending upon the variation of their capabilities, efficiencies of individual person on individual job, if job are assigned according to their abilities, we can take or derive the maximum output in the minimum time. More often, the assignment of this job will be done on the basis of experience and the common sense of the fleet manager. But it will result success in some cases, but not always. So one of the mathematicians developed a method that is called as the Hungarian method, and that is known by his name. The mathematician was Hungarian. Now, what is the assignment problem? If you just see that you have n facilities and n jobs. Facilities means your worker, your trucks. Jobs means certain jobs, or in other word, different cities, different machines, and effectiveness of each facility is also given. Now the problem is to assign each facility to one and only one job. That is the assumption, that we can't assign one facility to two workers or two facilities to one worker. So either objective is to maximize or the minimize. There are several problems, and some has the structure very identical in most of the assignment problems. If I take the example, a department head may have 5 people and the 5 jobs are there. So he may like to know how the jobs should be assigned to which person, so that all these tasks can be accomplished in the shortest possible time. We will take another example, a truck company having different trucks, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now they want the empty truck in cities 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one has to see that how to assign the trucks so that the distance covered gets minimized. Now, in mathematically, if I just see the assignment problem, the assignment problem is, if we say in the market, now the performance of salespersons is different in the different territory. Now, our job or the job of management is to assign the salesman in a particular territory so that the overall sale can be maximized. Now, this is the basic skeleton of any assignment model. In most of the cases, my dear friends, we will not get this type of figure. What we will get the simple statement. And as a student or as a practitioner, it is your work to make this table. Even in case of computer or the software, first you have to make the table, then only you can work on the computer. If you just see on your left side, there are person or the operator, or on the right hand side different column 1, 2, 3, 4 up to J and N. These are the jobs. So each one, if one performs the job 1, so C11 is the efficiency, similarly C12 and so on. This is the basic model of any cost matrix problem. Now there are different steps when we take any assignment problem. The first step is the formulation. Formulation means we have been given as a statement or mathematical in a general statement. From that general statement we have to formulate the problem. Generally the cost or the profit when they perform any job. Then we have to write all this statement in the form of a matrix in certain rows and certain columns. Now step 2. Objectives can be either maximize or minimize. If we take the cost minimization or the time minimization, this is a standard. And if we go for the maximization, then it gets as a non-standard problem, and we try to convert maximization problem into the minimization problem. What we do, there are certain rules for that. If your problem is maximization of profit, there are 2 steps. First, we will identify the maximum sell value and we will deduct it from each value. So suppose 45 is the maximum value and the remaining are your 30, 20 something. So what we will do, we will 30 minus 45. So what we will give? Minus 15. As a second step, we multiply by minus 1. The objective is to make each cell component as a positive, because when we are subtracting any large quantity, then our output will be in the negative sense. Now the step 3. One is called as the balancing and the non-balancing. In most of the cases, we get the square matrix, but sometimes it is not possible. If number of rows is equal to the number of columns, then its matrix is a square matrix, and this is called as the balanced problem. If number of rows is not equal to the number of column, then either we have to add dummy row or dummy column as the situation, as per the situation. And what we will do, we will assign or we will have all the cost as in the dummy cell as the 0. Now as a fourth step, we have to generate the opportunity cost matrix. Now what we will have to do, the first operation is called as the row operation. In that, we locate the smallest element in each row, and then we will subtract it from each element of the corresponding row. The objective is to get the 0. More clearly, the subtract smallest from all first row is smallest of the second row, and so on. Now, what is the tip of this particular operation? That after this operation, each row and each column must have at least 1 0. As I told you, you have to subtract the smallest element in each row. So if you are giving 1, 2, 3, 4 and you are deducting by 1, what you will get as a first cell, that is the 0. So after this operation, you must get at least 1 0 in each cell or each row and as well as each column. That is the tip for this operation. Now step 5. Now use the following. You have you got the different zeros in might be in some cases 2, in some cases 1. So what you will do, assign a 0 in each row by marking a box or a square. If you just see, this is a your rectangle or a square. So what you will do, if you are moving from row from left to right, you as soon as you encounter a 0, you will make this rectangle, and all the corresponding, that means this particular operator has been assigned a particular job. Now this job cannot be assigned to any other person. Similarly, this man cannot be assigned to any other job. So this row and the column is deducted, and this is as called as the assigned 0. What is the tip for this particular operation? That always start with the row which have at least 1 0. You know that since we are deducting from the smallest number, so we will get 1 0. But again, this is a tip. If you are not getting 0, that means there is a mistake in your calculation. You try to relook on this particular problem. Now we will take one example. In this example, you have 1, 2, 3 and 4 persons, and A, B, C, D are the 4 jobs. Now what is the objective? One has to assign either A, B or C or D. Now what we will do, we will simply perform the different operations. What is that? That we subtract the, and this your values are coming after performing the first operation, and that we got the 0 here, then 0 here, 3 for 3 0 is here, then 4 0 is here. Now our job is to assign. Again, since we are not getting 0 in these two columns, so what we will do, we will perform this operation again. So what we are doing, we are simply finding the lowest value after 0, that is then we will perform, and then we assign the job. You just see that if we move in row 1, we will move till we get a 0. If you find that we are encountering the 0 in the column C, so what we will do, we will assign job C to operator 1. Now all these zeros are deleted or deducted. That means this job cannot be assigned to any person. Similarly, this person cannot be assigned any job. Now we will come to the second row. In second row, as we move, we encounter a 0 under the first column, that is the A, and we will make a square. That means operator 2 is assigned a job A. So since we are getting a 0 here, so we will deduct. Similarly, we are getting 2 zeros more, we will deduct. That simply implies that job A is assigned to operator 2. Now job A cannot be assigned to any other person. Similarly, since operator 2 is assigned a job A, so no further job can be assigned to operator 2. So since there is another 0 at D, so we will delete it. Now come to third row. We have deleted or make cross under object or job A. So job A cannot be assigned to 3. If we move further, we will get a 0 under the column D. So what we will do, we will assign operator 3 to job D. That means job D is now assigned to operator 3. We have already deleted job D for 2 in our earlier operations. That means now we can assign the job D to 3. Now after assigning, we are not getting any 0, so we will not delete any. We are not able to delete. Now come to your row 4th. In operation first, we have already deleted your different columns. So finally what we will do, we will assign job or the person 4 to the job B, so that it completes the particular assignment problem. Now, in this problem, if total time, you have to be asked as the time total, or how you will say that your calculated time is more beneficial, you can try 2-3 different paths. But here what you will do, you will take the different, just like for example, if you just see the figure, since job operator 1 is assigned to job A, so we will calculate the different values and we will calculate the total performance of the different persons, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we will come that how this assignment problems is applied in the warehousing. The first important thing is that we want to allocate different drivers to different fleet of the vehicles for the distribution of the materials. This is one of the biggest or the largest problem where you have a different drivers and different fleets of the vehicles for the distribution. Nobody wants to work, that is true, but you have to assign the job or the fleet to the different drivers. Then another important point which normally the assignment problem does, that is the selection of suitable vehicle. That there are several vehicles, but each vehicle has the different efficiencies. So what we will do, we will use the assignment model, and on the basis of that we will take these much group of vehicles so that we can maximize the total number of products produced by that particular industry. Then another important thing, that we want to make the arrangement of material in the shelf. Then fleet selection of the problem. So all these things dealt in your assignment problem. So in today's session, we have divided into 2 parts. In the first part, we have discussed about the inventory, warehousing. Then we have discussed in detail about the transportation problem. In the second type of problem is your assignment problem, where you have a certain groups of operators, certain groups of fleets. Now you have to assign these fleets to the different cities. Now the cost of the each fleet from going from source to destination is different. Similarly, the distance covered is also different. So our purpose is to identify that particular allocation so that you can minimize the total cost, or you can minimize the total time taken by a different fleet, or total time taken by a group of workers or operator for meeting a certain objective. These are the few basics, and the model which is commonly used is called as the Hungarian model. Though we have not gone in very detail, but in coming session we will try to devote whole session on each one problem so that you have the better understanding. But what we have done in today's session is to give you the basic idea on the assignment problem. I trust my both session, where in the first session your transportation model, assignment model, both are understood well by you, and you will be able to understand the problem on assignment problem or transportation problem when we discuss certain difficult problems. So I not only hope, I will trust that you understand these transportation as well as assignment problem quite gracefully. Thank you.